Dexter Original Sin Episode 9 Blood Drive features an anticipated showdown between Dexter Morgan and the series' main villain while surprisingly introducing a new one. But before we get into it, if you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button, drop a like and comment on the video, and if you're able, please sign up for channel memberships for exclusive content, which really helps us out. Anyway, back to Miami. So, Episode 8 confirmed the return of Dexter's biological brother, Brian Moser, in the original Sin timeline, creating a medley of villains including Hector Estrada and the newly exposed child killer Aaron Spencer. Brian takes the spotlight in Season 1's penultimate episode, creating all sorts of questions for next week's Season 1 finale. Episode 9 answers a major unanswered question from the original Dexter series, finally revealing why Brian and Dexter were separated after their mother, Laura, was horrifically murdered. It appears that Brian's dark passenger was much more difficult for him to handle than Dexter's was, nearly suffocating baby Deb in her crib because her crying was too noisy. Deb also makes an introduction at Miami Metro in Episode 9 and meets Maria LaGuerta for the first time, which has an eerie undertone given how their relationship would end in Dexter Season 7. Episode 9 smartly reveals how Harry was a protective wedge between Brian and Dexter. Brian is deeply traumatized after being separated from his younger brother. He was taken away by an apparent social worker or child protective service agent to a life of instability and loneliness. Brian comes back with a vengeance against the social worker in Episode 9, befriending her through multiple bingo nights before assaulting her in his van. Harry knows Brian is at large and has already killed 3 people, but chooses to bury the lead on Brian to shield Dexter. The re-emergence of Brian Moser creates a perfect bridge between the prequel and Season 1 of the original series. Unless showrunner Clyde Phillips plans to retcon Brian and Dexter's reunion in Season 1, which would have disastrous effects, Brian is proven to be an unexpected yet ideal addition to the original Sin cast. While Brian's increased role feels like playing with sacred original series fire, his inclusion has been masterfully handled thus far. Finally solving the mystery of why he and Dexter were truly separated is exactly what the prequel series is all about. Demonstrating Harry's logical role in it fills a crucial gap in Dexter's backstory. It also presents Harry with a character-defining question: why didn't he arrest Brian when he had the chance? As Brian revs up his chainsaw in the final moments of Episode 9, Dexter sets a trap for Aaron Spencer, one of the few targets to ever escape from Dexter's infamous kill table. At first impression, it's a puzzling maneuver and contradictory to Dexter's MO, risking breaking the cardinal rule of Harry's code: don't get caught. Dexter still appears to be in the driver's seat with Spencer, who takes his severed finger and photos of his child victims and drives off with Dexter in pursuit. Spencer will likely lead Dexter to Nikki, which would add another heroic layer to Dexter's brand of vigilantism if he is saved. At this point, it would be stunning if Harry doesn't help take Spencer out, since Dexter has more than enough evidence to put him away for life or to end his. Chances are high that Spencer will face his fate in the original Sin Season 1 finale, but his motivations for killing Judge Powell's son and kidnapping Nikki remain somewhat hazy even after he confesses to Dexter in Episode 9. Spencer reveals that he kidnapped Nikki and severed his finger because he was upset at his ex-wife Becca, who had been having an affair with a man named Nelson for 14 years. Nikki's age hasn't been clarified, but it's possible Spencer kidnapped Nikki because he either knew or suspected that Nikki wasn't his biological son but Nelson's. This still leaves myriad unanswered questions about Spencer, such as why he gave both victims the same boxed lunch, why he severed both of their fingers, and how he imagined kidnapping Nikki would solve his problems with Becca. What's more, Judge Powell and his son's role in all of this is yet to be determined. After Spencer admits to kidnapping Nikki but not being a serial killer, Dexter is taken aback by the apparent lesson that one major life event can turn a good person into a killer. Still, a lot of explanation is needed to call Spencer a good to great Dexter villain after Original Sin Episode 9, and these details will have to be sorted out in the Season 1 finale.